Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Carry On Friends, the Caribbean American podcast. I'm excited to have Melissia today. Melissia, how are you?
I am good, thank you.
Listen, Melissia has a story to tell, and she is a first for the podcast. So, Melissia, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, Caribbean countries you represent, and then we can talk about the work you do.
All right. So, as you know, my name is Melecia Munroe. Everyone calls me Mel. So, if you ever met me, I'm very personable, and I always tell people, feel comfortable, be yourself, nothing else. My background, I am from Belize, born in Belize. Mother's from Jamaica. So, growing up, I went back and forth between both. So, blessed to have a mixture of both cultures. So, you can imagine the things I've seen as a child up to even as an adult now, as a mother myself. Everything from colorism all the way up to just the dynamics of the workforce for Black people, Caribbean people, you name it. If you ever saw me, you'd probably like, where's she really from? You hear all type of accents, you're not sure. I love culture. I love our people. I love our Caribbean people. So my accents tend to mix up a little bit because I have the Trini friends, the Guyanese friend, the St. Vincent friend, the Bayesian friend. So I have all of them. But then, of course, as a profession, when you're in the workplace, I have to switch it up quite often. Even as a New Yorker, I had a presentation Tuesday that I gave, and little did I know that behind the scenes, my coworkers, they said, Mel, we always know it's you. We don't even have to question. And I'm like, why? They said, you're such a New Yorker. I'm like, what does that mean? They said, it's hard to explain, but you have such an accent. So I'm sure the accent they're hearing is a bit of a New Yorker accent plus the Caribbean all mixed up. So I'm so proud of it. I feel we're such a beautiful people and we have so much to offer. And if you don't know it, I will make sure you know it by the end of this podcast.
Listen, we have whole heap to offer. Whole heap. But let's back up a little bit. So, for anyone who isn't aware, Belize is a country in Central America, but Belize is part of CARICOM, which is the Caribbean community, and it is generally considered a Caribbean country, even though it's on Central America, right? So, we want to give everybody that history. Say, if you're from Belize, you wanna we, all right? If you didn't know. And then on top of that, your mom is Jamaican. So
Yes.
without giving our whole story, tell us how tell us how that happened. Did mom she migrate to Belize? What was the story?
So, growing up, grandma always, may she rest in peace. Grandma always told mommy, see the world, explore things, come out to Jamaica. This is a small island. I want you to see and experience different things that maybe I can't give you. She went to Belize. I think it was just for school at one point. Met my dad. They were young, but young enough to conceive me and grown enough. I came into the picture. She probably was a little afraid to tell grandma because grandma probably said, I didn't say you took her make no picnic. She had me. It was a blessing to her, she said. So she says. Growing up, my mother, she's from South Spring, Montego Bay area. So
Stop lie right there. So stop
me
your
not lie
lying.
to you, me not lie.
Stop lie. Stop lying.
Yes.
Melissa, you want to know say if me and your cousin we have things.
Listen, when I met you, I looked at you and I said, wow, she look like she could be someone from my family.
Do you know why my father's side of family is from Salt Spring? I am from Montego Bay, Jamaica.
So I'm gonna elaborate on that. Grandma had a shop on a hill. I don't remember the street, but it was on a hill. My grandma's name is Everett Jackson. They used to call her Miss Funny. So anybody know Everett Jackson? That's my grandmother. Again, may she rest in peace. She's one of 13 children. So Miss Funny, as she was known, but grandma to me, and another mother to me as well. This woman ran a shop. She would go to the market with her basket on her head. I mean, I heard all the stories. She would tie me up at the shop because I would run around too much, and she would say, You can't run around here, because the way the shop was situated, I can't run in the street. I would get hit, So grandma would tie me up at the shop. People would come in and buy the sugar and everything else, and they're like, "Who this little white picnic?" That was the joke of the town. They say, "Who's this little white picnic at the shop with Miss Funny?" And she said, "I'm a grand picnic." That was the little joke. So growing up, that's all I heard. This little joke, this little white picnic had to tie up at the shop.
I am like so blown. Like after this conversation, I'm gonna ask my other cousins because I remember going to Salt Spring, but I never stayed there long enough. But the audience, real time, you're hearing my reaction because very few people come from Mobi. And she specifically said Salt Spring. And so it's just like, wait, we have to know. But I was,
Guys, you have to see her face right now to understand how in shock she is. She's like, "We might be cousins."
I know. Oh my goodness. And I would have to find out, but let's bring it back. But so okay, your mom went to Belize, she explored, she find your daddy, she like him, wanna come. And what next?
Mommy came back to Jamaica. She had to introduce, here's a grand picnic, Melissia. Mommy said she looked for me like, all right, so what next? So, old fashioned grandma way, she said, well, you're gonna have to work, you're gonna have to help up in the shop. You can't sit on here and just, so old school, you work hard. Whatever you need, you have to work for it. Like I said, she had a shop. She sold, local foods, sugar, it's like a bodega that they call it here. She worked hard. I never knew someone that could count just, like her, the way her mind worked. And of course, using numbers. Like I've never been good at math. It's never been my thing, but to see her in action. And when I say see her, I mean, as an adult, as I was growing up, just hearing her just throw off numbers and, cha 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 cha. I'm like, Grandma, how you do that? She said, listen, Masa. She said, we come from a shop. You have to know these things, So I was always very impressed with Grandma and her work ethics. And I think that's where my mother got it from, and then that's where I got it from. The work my mother did, she worked at New York Life for many years. She's retired now. So big up to mommy. Put in our something something years. Can't remember the number, but she put in a good amount of years. Work hard. So I saw everything from her coming up. People used to joke that she was a little stush, but it's not that she was stush. It's just she had standards for herself. Grandma always told her, you have to work. You can't sit and expect things to fall in your lap. Even growing up, mom used to say, dress the part you want. And I said, but mommy, I don't know what part I want yet. She said, just keep dressing the part that looks professional enough for the work for them to then recognize you and then continue from there. We'll take it from there. But just seeing her journey. So when she came into the country, she worked in a factory in administrative role. That's why they used to call her Stush. Then she went to school to try to get some type of a development, typing courses and things like that. Back then, they didn't have certain degrees. It was more like certifications and such. Mommy worked her way into, I forgot the name of the company, but eventually evolved into New York Life, what it is today. I saw her journey in the sense of, again, being the only Black female in a lot of the roles, or she worked alongside perhaps Caucasian colleagues who were kind enough and saw her skills and her strength and helped her build on it. And of course, I'm sure sometimes she didn't get the credit where it deserved. I've heard stories, but sometimes the people that you need to see your skills, they may not be there yet because they're not looking at everything yet, the bigger picture. But then you have, let's say, new executives, new people come into the business or new people who take over. Now they're looking and evaluating who do we keep and who do we let go because now we're restructuring. She was not let go. Someone put in a word and said, "You need to keep that one." Her name is Carmen. Her name is actually Carmenita, so that's another thing. So Carmenita, that name sounds very Hispanic. She's not Hispanic by at all. Mommy is a pure Jamaican. So when they heard the name, sometimes it would, again, the conversation of "What are you?" Da, 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 but it's Black woman. Growing up, she rocked her afro. I saw pictures. Mommy was a little hattie, hattie, hattie. You know, beautiful woman. I always told my mommy, I said, "Mommy, you're beautiful." So she was my rock. She's always my idol, so to speak, and she still is. Even as a retired woman, she still is. But yeah, coming here into the workforce, she moved up, she worked her way up. And a lot of times the position she kept developing into, and I noticed it. I said, Mommy, they keep throwing you into like the most worst offices to fix and develop and to kind of rebuild. And I noticed, I think for her, it was probably that leadership quality she always had. And she was big on development and training. And I noticed I picked up on those skills as well. And I do it today. Sometimes don't even realize it. But for her, she kept getting thrusted where she was developing and coaching. She's always been fair. And that's one thing I think I was respected. She was always fair in the workplace. She always tried to have a diverse population. I always told her myself, I said, Mommy, you have to be careful. Don't have everyone that looks like you and talks like you as a part of your department because now everyone's going to think that's all that you're supporting. You want to be fair to your organization and so that they see that you are a fair counterpart and that this is not just, a Black thing for you. Because a lot of times in the workplace, what will happen, we want what's best for our community and our people, but we have to show that we're fair across the board so that when we're given certain positions and roles and tasks, they can always say, you know what? Mel's strong about her culture and who she is, but she will make sure everyone gets a fair chance. She'll give the same time she gives to you versus you and you and you. So I always told her that. So it's just interesting to see her journey and to see the things I like to do because I pull from her also.
That's an amazing story and the mirroring of you and your mom in different ways. So let's not leave the audience in any other suspense or figure out, okay, so what she do? So let's tell the audience exactly the work you do.
Yes. So I am an HR professional. The area of HR that I focus the most on is recruitment. I've been in HR, wow, since I'll probably say 20 years now. I fell into HR totally by accident. I graduated from St. John's. That was my undergrad, bachelor's in communications. Back then, I thought I wanted to be a news reporter. This is Melissia coming to you live from Channel 12 News. We are on site in South Spring, Montego Bay area at Miss Funny Shop. So that's what I thought I wanted to be because in my mind at the time it was my way to get information out. I felt like I was that middleman to provide clarity, genuine information, and authenticity, I should say. I was shy growing up, but as I got older, I really came into my own and realized, I have a voice and I need to use it and I can use it. So for me, journalism at one point and writing was my way to provide that type of skill. I was an intern at what is that called? Court TV at one point. It was okay, a little boring, wasn't for me, but made my requirements. It's okay. Thank you, Court TV. Thank you. I passed the class. I ended up working at WCBS 880 AM. I was a sales assistant working at the front desk. And I bring that area up because it was my first job out of St. John's. Being there, and I'm going to touch on colorism because being a woman of color, but high yellow, so to speak, in the workplace, there were three of us myself, a colleague of mine who's also from Jamaica, and I forgot who the other person was, but you could notice certain things on the floor. There were not many of us. The sales assistants were minorities. We were all women of color on that floor. Anyone who was in a position of power were Caucasian, male, and a few females, very few. So those that were a handful, those are the ones I respected. I kind of stayed, I kept my eye on them. I wanted to see how they moved and what they did and what they didn't do. Then the guys behind me, they were men. Majority of them were men. I sat at the front desk, and behind me were a bunch of men who were in a sales position where they were selling sales ads for WCBS 880 AM. So it was a hustle. They were all hustling to make money because it was very commission based. Also, there was one black gentleman, one black female, and those were the only two on the floor that were in those positions. Of course, to some degree, I tried to be like, "You need anything? I got you. You need anything?" So I felt like I was always looking out for us in a weird way. Never obvious where it would send a signal, but enough that my peers who were one of us, so to speak, they knew that I had their back or I could help them if I saw something. Oh, hey, I saw an article. Yeah, check this out. I've always had that in me. But also in the workplace, I noticed something. I tend to wear my hair back in a bun or a ponytail. Back then, I wore it straight, flat iron. You're learning your hair. Also, I was still in that phase. I was young. I was probably like 21. I would wear my hair flat iron sometimes. And the way my hair is made up, it's very curly and it could frizz up real quick. So straight look don't work for me too much unless it's in the fall or winter. So anyone who can relate, you know what I'm talking about. So working in the office, Monday through Thursday, there was a certain look. Friday, I found myself relaxing a little bit, but I did it gradually. And the reason why is because of the nature of the place I was in, my audience. I mean, Hillary Clinton walks up on the floor. She walked up on the floor to the radio station. I always knew that I had to represent myself in a way that any opportunity that could come my way, I had to be ready. And I don't know when or how that could occur. And my look played a part in that. I was conscious of that because I saw certain things that I didn't like, just in the workplace in general. So I felt like, I hate to say, sometimes I felt like I'm Martin Luther King. Like I'm always this one speaking up for the underdog. And if I could be that voice, I felt like Mel, use it because if they don't listen to them, they can listen to you. So Friday came, and I bring this up for a reason because I touch on it a lot at workshops and just one-on-one conversations with our community. Wore my hair out on a Friday. I was on the bus coming down on Fifth Avenue to WCBS 880 AM. Had my hair out, curly, kinky curl, poofy as ever. Okay. On the bus, I recall the lady that I had one of the most respect for, a short, very short woman. The short women are feisty. Any short woman you see, she's feisty. Trust. So she was an exec in the office. And I remember her being on the bus. I remember her kind of like, is that Melissia? Is that Melissia? We get in the office now. I'm at my desk putting my stuff away. And she made a comment. But before I said, I remember she used to say, her and a colleague, oh, she dresses so nice. I just felt it was odd the way they would say it. And I know they didn't mean it intentionally to be rude. I think it was just perception of us as a people. But now coming into the office with my hair curly, it wasn't straight, wasn't neat to the standards that I was presenting for quite some time. Wore my hair out curly, and she literally said to me at my desk, leaning over, she said, she's like, I like your hair the other way. And I remember how it hit me so hard, like, I almost cried because I'm like, "Wow, like, does she not understand that this is who I am and this is a big part of me?" And, my hair is such a representation of me, and what she did is proved exactly why I don't do it at work, why I did not wear my hair like that at work, because she said something about my hair as if it was a problem. Why is my hair a conversation for you? Why is it a problem? Why was straight supposed to be a nice look while the kinky curl or whatever you want to call it, my poofy curls, you didn't like it. I didn't ask her opinion. Why would you bring it up in the first place? Why? I was baffled by it. I mean, went to the bathroom. I had to like really get my thoughts together because I was furious that this woman that I did respect kind of like stepped out of a box that I did not expect her to. But I had a conversation with her and I told her, I said it was offensive. She said something to me because I told her, I said, do you know I'm black, right? And literally at 21, I had to say this to a coworker and a white colleague. It was just weird conversations because it wasn't something mommy and I grew up in the household. We didn't talk about color like that. It was just you're black, or it wasn't something that I had the conversation or needed to have much. But to see it so in my face, so that's why I say colorism is so real. It's so deep. Each of us has it in different conversations, and experiences in different ways. So for me, that was my wake up call. So in her office, I told her, I said, I was offended. And I said, this is why I don't wear my hair like this. I said, I'm black. You know that, right? And I said it twice because I wanted her to understand I don't know who she thought I was, where I was from. I don't know. She said, I'm so sorry, Mel. And she generally felt bad. And I didn't want to make it worse for her, but I needed her to understand you have to know your audience. The same way you make that money and the same way you watch your words and you watch how you put something in a contract in your particular is the same respect I deserve. And I told her, I said, I was offended. And I said, I was very hurt because I respect you as a woman here in this office. And then she told me about a friend she had who was half black, half white. And I said, can I see a picture of your friend? She showed me the picture and I looked at the picture and I told her, I said, when I look at your friend, I said, from a distance, anyone would see that she looks more Caucasian than I may look Caucasian to someone. I don't look Caucasian to most people. I look maybe half black, half white, Spanish. Yeah, so I'm used to it. But when I saw her friend, I said, your friend could pass as a Caucasian. And I said, I hope you understand that you might have said something because you said it to me as a coworker here. You might have said something to her in the past and she didn't bring it up. Or she knows your position. So she may wear her hair a certain way. She may do things a certain way because she wants to assimilate with you, your stature, your background. So I just say, as your friend, because I saw her as a friend, as a colleague and a friend, I said, be mindful of what you say and maybe have a conversation. Ask if you've ever offended her because it goes very deep. As I told her, I said, as you can see, there's very few women in this office in these type of high level roles. So you saying my hair, you prefer the other way was very hurtful to me. So that was my slap in the face and a wake up call. And I never forgot it. Never ever. And I never will.
I love that you told the career history because a lot of times, you know, people will just talk about how they land at a particular job. But most of us, we go through a whole slew of jobs unrelated to our jobs. Well, in theory, unrelated, but you learn skills that bring us here. So, two things. And I think most Black folks will experience this, right? At my job, I'll talk to my Black colleagues, but the senior Black coworkers, the one who are in higher position, is almost like good morning. And when you see them, you just kind of do a eye nod or a head. It's almost like you're afraid to talk to them, not because they don't want to talk to you, but you're afraid it might seem like congregating too much and having too much of a conversation. I think where a lot of us feel comfortable talking with the staff on our level, but once you're getting up high in the senior levels, you're almost like, hello, I'm passing the hallway, hello, and keep it to hello. But almost like it's a double-edged sword because in a way, for us to grow, we need to nurture, particularly Black executives have to figure out how to mentor, other, but it's almost like we feel like if we do it, it might feel like it's favoritism, but there is a cultural context and some nuances there that they could do. So tell me your thoughts around this.
It's a great question. I always tell people like as I've gotten older, I am not phased by titles anymore. There was a time I was. So that same exec that you might be afraid to, like we had someone new that started. He's an exec level, higher up, general manager. I always tell people, remember, even like an interview, talk to people as if you're having a general conversation. Forget about the title. Throw all that title stuff out the window and have a conversation. You passing by that office, if that exec did something or you saw something, hey, Jason, I noticed you sent that email out. I thought that was interesting, such and such, make it a casual conversation. Make it casual and not so formal that it takes away from the genuineness of your contributions or what you could be saying to him, because he might literally want to get closer to the team who's on the lower level. Because what tends to happen is when you're in the higher level, there's a fear that you can't get close to those in those lower levels because it's almost like it's taboo, or but the people who are in the higher levels who have that genuineness and that authenticity where they're able to talk to anyone from different levels below, you get more out of your team, you get more out of your staff, and they want to give more now because they're like, he's cool, Jason's cool, he says good morning all the time. I was at the bus stop and it was raining, he gave me a ride to the train station, you know what I mean? So with respect, of course, because obviously it's a work environment. But at least let them know that you're seeing their work too, because you want to give props to where due. So if Jason did something and you're like, Jason, I saw that email. That was really cool. I like that because I've been thinking about that, but I've been wondering, when are we going to do this? Because I could see where this could really help us. Because even in my role, you know what I'm saying? By you having that dialogue, you'll be surprised where that dialogue takes you. Because what you didn't realize is that simple dialogue now opens up a door for him to be like, "Oh, I remember talking to such and such. She brought up a real good point. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna see if she wants to join this meeting." Do you understand what I'm saying? You just now opened up a door that you didn't even know was possible. But again, that's why I say to people, love what you do, and it doesn't feel like work. I love networking, like the only problem with networking is sometimes people see it as salesmanship, and I need a consistent salary. I can't deal with commission work. That's not my life. And not knocking anyone. If I was in my younger days, in my early 20s, I would do commission had I had the skills then, but I didn't. I was still so young, and I was still nurturing who I was, my insecurities, like even my hair. I was just like, I don't know if I do for this, if I do my hair, like little things like that. They affect, especially as women. We are so big on our hair. Our hair can affect us going out, us staying in, us going to a function, us not going to a function, us reserving a seat the day before versus a 2, 3, a month. It's so relevant, and I feel like our community, we have different battles that people just don't understand. So that's why when people go through things, I always try to say, you know what, there might be something behind that. Let me not push. I'm gonna give them their time. And when they're ready, I'm just gonna be ready to welcome them with open arms.
On the flip side of that, what about Black employees? Like you said, there's just a handful of y'all in there. So you can't really do a head nod walking by. What is your idea, thoughts around surviving a workplace where there's not many?
I don't have the perfect answer for that because I see it often. There's not many of us. So I feel like when there's not many of us, don't be afraid to embrace it. Meaning, embrace it in the sense of there's two things. One, some companies have they want to have I forgot the term I'm looking for. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Token?
Token, yeah, so to speak. So sometimes if you are that token hire, because they're trying to meet quotas for the business and to show, we're about diversity, you might want to ride that wave until it falls off. Because you might want to use that opportunity to now get ideas out there, push this program, push that you can do this, push that you have this skill, or push that now you'd like to move into another role and you have an idea that you'd like to present and would love to be considered for this type of a role, because sometimes they don't know what they need until the talent is in front of them. So you come there, sometimes your talent is being developed, but now that you have it and now you put it all together and put in this nice box, you present it so that they see the value that they have in you that they didn't even know they could make use of. So you have to be your own salesman. You are your best advocate. And if you don't know it, you have to find a way to know it. Learn the things that give you joy, develop things like Excel is not my skill set. I don't love it. I can, create a spreadsheet. Formulas, I'm a hot mess. Numbers scare me, they really do. So I literally put that in my goals recently for my performance review. I said I want to learn more, get more confident, not be so nervous with Excel. My boss, she said, yeah, she said, no problem. She said, Mel, Google. I said, I know. I said, but it still scares me. She's like, Google University. Hello. So another point I want to bring out, some in work environments will cause you to pin yourself against each other. They may like this one versus you, and then they try to, give all the work to this one versus you who has really all the skills, but they like this one, this other person who doesn't have as much skills. So what I've done is I've seen it where they might give me something because they like me. And I'm like, Janet back here, she's really good. You should give it to her. I put the ball in their park and I let them know, like, I'm okay to say what I don't know. I'm okay to say my skill set is not that, but I can do such and such. But Janet's real good at that. You should really, consider her. I've been working with her. And I give that proper due, but you have to be willing to do that. And I find that our community doesn't always do it because there's a few of us. We're scared to say that we can't do something or scared to, rally with each other. It's kind of like we're competing. We don't need to
Or lose
compete.
position, right?
Yeah, I'm not competing with I'm a single mom. I'm not competing with another single mom and throw her under the bus. I'm not doing it. I never will. I never have. I know her struggle. We might even talk about it. Like I work with some single moms. We talk about our struggles and frustrations all the time. And if I see something, I say, hey, FYI, I did this. Why don't you try that? So I just feel like you have to learn to share information and not be selfish because that selfish quality, it's a root of some serious evil stuff, and it really can mess you up in the workplace because when you start to not share information, people see it eventually and they start to not want to work with you also.
Listen, as my grandmother say, whatever you sow, you may not reap it, but your pitney or your pitney will definitely reap it. So it's one of those things.
I believe in karma
Yeah.
big time. Big, big, big time. I try to treat people the way I want. Listen, I'm not perfect. I have my selfish qualities. I love my food. Don't touch my food. You know? So I try to be nice. All right, I'm gonna give it a piece of the chicken wing. All right, here. You know, I just say that's I just say let's just say I know where I need to work, but I just think a lot of people need to know where do you need to work on. You really need to look in the mirror, like to really look in the mirror. Where's your life going wrong? If you keep seeing some certain patterns, and I've done it myself, and I'm like, all right, step back, Mel. There's a reason why you keep hitting that roadblock. You keep taking the same steps. Step back, do something different. Associate yourself with some different people. I think again, as a people, we have a habit. We like to associate ourselves with people who look like us, talk like us. I saw a group of friends once, and I'm just like, y'all all look alike. You look alike. You dress alike. I said, so who's really elevating who here? Or who's really stepping out the box to say, listen, I know you like to do such and such and look like this, but we don't need to all look alike. We don't. So just be your authentic self, like I'll never be anything other than me because I can't be something that I'm not because it's gonna crumble and you're gonna say, wait a minute. Last 6 months you've been showing me this all of a sudden. I didn't know you had that accent. I didn't know you were black. No, you're gonna know from the beginning. You're gonna know from the beginning with pride, with respect, all that. But I just say that to say, just be your authentic self and find your skills, find the areas that make you happy, that bring you joy. That's it.
All right. So what's happening in the world of HR? Like,
Um, Generally speaking, I know because of COVID, everyone has different battles and different stories from it. I truly feel COVID, and I don't want to get too preachy or too spiritual, but I do believe in a higher power and God, because a lot of stuff I can't do without Him, obviously. But I do feel like COVID was like a blessing, at least for me, it was a blessing in disguise. Taught me to slow down, pace myself, really think about things. You know, uh, enjoy things and just not take things for granted. I was doing work on my home. It gave me time to do things in the home, more time with my son because the hustle and bustle gets crazy. But with regards to the workforce, COVID slowed so much down for so many industries. But now that the world has opened back up, you're finding a lot of people are working from home. I work remotely. The industry has allowed people to have a work life balance. Companies and industries realize that number one, they could save money because you don't have to be in the office to be effective. And they saving on overhead costs. They don't have to have a building for certain things, or they don't need to have a space, that takes up this much time anymore. Now they can save money because people can work remote. You and I are doing a podcast right now. It's still effective. It is not for everyone. I'm going to be honest though. Remote work is not for everyone. I did a bit of it when I was at Dollar Tree, a little bit here and there on occasion. I could, possibly work at the store or at home, whatever. And then where I am now, working for a company where I staff the airport for mechanics, engineers, and so forth. I say that to say it's been a blessing. But if you're someone who knows how to manage their time and can be self motivated, remote work is the best. If you are someone that literally needs someone to tell you what to do, or someone that needs that routine, or, listen, we have text. Even I may not be in an office setting, we text every darn day. We talk, we have group chats, we could even call each other like this we have teams. That's what technology has done. It has allowed us to have the functionality as if we were in an office through technology. Technology is booming. So because of COVID, it has allowed for industries like the technology industry to be more effective, more creative, outsourcing for different services because now COVID has created it where people are remote working. So certain technology is needed. A lot of times also now that I'm noticing, people are switching industries. It's allowing you to have a side hustle. If you didn't have a side hustle before, COVID pushed you behind to do a side hustle. Because at one point I was furloughed, which means the company says we can't keep you on right now, but we're going to bring you back eventually. We just don't know when. So that was a scary place for me. I had mortgage, I have a son to take care of. But between savings and Uncle Sam and their money they were giving out, everything worked out. So again, always have a cushion. So
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing all this movement in the market, especially after COVID. And I think with all the changes in the economy, there's so many things we could talk about, but we have to low key prepare and ready with self. So what's one, two tips you have for people to say, you know what, if you're thinking about a career move, you want to make a move, start do this little little.
I would have to say start aligning yourself with people who are in the industry that you're interested in, industry or whatever it may be. Use social media. There's all these hashtag a business and watch all these things pop up. Google certain companies. Right now, some people want pension. If that's the case, find a company that has pension. Look for them city jobs, MTA, LIR. Do your research. Even in your email system, your personal email, do an email blast of every contact in your email and you send to them. Do it blind copy. Don't to everybody where everyone can see. Do to yourself and then do BCCCC everybody that you have. Copy paste, whatever. And you email, you say, afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope your summer's doing great. Enjoying a good fat and thing. You know, however you want to position it, however your audience is, make it pleasant. Make sure you show you care about their well-being before you ask them for a favor. um did you a little quick introduction, like I said, and you say, listen, I'm looking to transition into the media industry, but I would love a contact. If anyone has any contacts or opportunities where I can connect with such and such, please send them my way or feel free to email me. I would love to touch base with some great people who have the insights to offer, because I feel I have something to bring. I just don't know how to go about it, and I need the right people to help me get there. And you'd be surprised how your friends have contacts that you're just like, oh, why didn't you tell me you know this lady? Or why didn't you tell me she works at such and such? So you send an email and, you thank them, and you'd be surprised the feedback you might get. And then the second thing I'd have to say is you have to get your mind right. I am not big on associating with people who have this like negative energy or aura or self-destruction, or, kind of always feel like, well, it's because of how I grew up. We've all had some battles, trust me, some larger than others, but you can't live in it for long. You'll forever be in this box, and you can't get yourself out because everything that happens, you play the victim. You become a victim. You cannot be a victim forever. You can't, because then you'll never be able to get out of that box. And unfortunately, the friendships you have, the colleagues, the way you work, it will be affected, because now the way you communicate with everyone will be as if you don't know how to hold yourself accountable for your actions. It's not a good place to be in, because now people don't know that if they refer you and if it doesn't work out and if you don't do well, you're not going to hold yourself accountable for it not working out. You're going to blame the next party. And remember, when people refer you, you have to remember, Carrie referred me, Melissia referred me. I can't
That's my reputation.
you can't mess up my name. And keep in mind too, if for some reason they don't do well, remember too, you didn't do those, they did it. So they messed up that part. You did your part. Don't feel too bad. But again, your name is everything. You are your brand. So if I refer someone, they're gonna say, "Oh, I gotta call this person because Mel will refer people to just, so hold that close, but I'll say those 2 things. Get your mind right, stay positive. If it doesn't work out, sometimes it's just not your time. I've always said that. If something did not work out for me, friends, relationship, family, some anything, work, it's probably because you know what? I probably need to go through something else before I get to this step. And I need to just fall back, keep doing what I'm doing. The right people are seeing. Create a folder for yourself. Even at work, create a folder for yourself where you get accolades or someone says, Mel, thank you for this, or Kerry, thank you. I noticed you, blah, 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 blah. Keep those folders. You want to know why? Because when performance review comes around, you're not going to remember all them things to put in your review. You don't remember that, and neither are they. They're going to remember the last 3 to 6, not even 6 months. They're going to remember the last 3 months, or maybe even just a month. They're not going to remember those things and how you increased this, you created this, or you did. They're not going to remember as much. So you have to be your advocate and you have to put it on paper, create a folder, and do your bullet points. I'm big on bullet points. Why should I get that raise? Or why should I be considered? Or why should I not do such and such? Well, because bullet one, bullet two, bullet three, and so forth. Once you plot it out like that, they cannot say that you do not have your together. Excuse my language.
You're talking my language. I create a subfolder, I drag everything into the subfolder. But I think these are great advice. It's just really practical. And right before I jumped on this recording, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, at the end of the day, it's a tried and true. A lot of times we keep looking for a brand new, exciting idea, but it's just the tried and true things that work, and we just have to keep at it.
It's funny you said that because I remember the event I met you. Somebody said that you might be told no so many times. No, 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 no. All you're presenting all your ideas, but you feel strongly about them. You need to hold on to that because that passion and that drive, someone's gonna see it and they're bound to love it. But the no's that you've been getting, sometimes those no's are you'd be surprised are from people who feel threatened by those passion. It can be threatening. It could be, does it fit our brand or does it fit the culture or you're too different, But who said different was a problem? Why is different a problem? So those no's, let those no's drive you. And it's okay to get the no's. Just don't stop. Because if you stop at the first no, you don't truly have the passion. If you're gonna allow that one no to stop you, then that means that drive and that passion is really what you is really there. You need to find something where they tell you no all the time and you're still pushing. And then when you get to the goal you need to get, and all the no's behind you, they look, they say, "Shit, man, I should have called Mel. Sorry, I'm busy now. I'm too busy. I'm gonna call you back."
Oh my goodness, Mel, why don't you tell everybody where they could find you on the internet?
There's a company I created, or LLC, I guess you could say, the Power of Networking Human Resources Services. I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook. So you can look for the Power of Networking and you'll see a logo that's a world. It's a blue world, but it should say the Power of Networking Human Resources Services. My phone number is on it. I'm okay to give my phone number out 347-420-9189. And my email, Melecia, Melecia Munroe, Munroe at hotmail.com. So any questions or tips? I do counsel sessions as well. Feel free to email me.
Thank you for that. And as I love to say at the end of the show, walk good, but you now walk far because we're going to find out if we are really related somewhere somehow. All right, everyone, take care. Until next time.